Hey everyone. Tonight we're not marching with legions or storming castles. We're slipping back thousands of years into the birth of civilization itself. Picture the Nile under a burning sun, or the dusty streets of Babylon. You think of temples, pharaohs, and clay tablets, but beneath the stone and gold, people were getting high. Civilization may not have been built on laws and order, but on wine, weed, and opium. Imagine an Egyptian priest grinding cannabis with honey for a sacred remedy, or a Sumerian mother silencing her baby with a drop of opium, the happy plant. Picture blue lotus flowers steeped in wine, passed around during festivals that were less holy than they were euphoric. This isn't the clean history you learned in school. This is a junkie's map of the ancient world. If exploring the hidden vices of the past excites you, hit like and subscribe, and in the comments, tell me which ancient drug would you dare to try. As we drift deeper into the past, into the very genesis of human society, we find ourselves standing at the precipice of two monumental landscapes, the Fertile Crescent of Mesopotamia, cradled between the Tigris and Euphrates, and the life-giving ribbon of the Nile in ancient Egypt. These lands, bathed in the warmth of an eternal sun, are hailed as the birthplaces of civilization, where the first seeds of human ingenuity were sown. We are taught to envision the grand, the noble, the precise art of agriculture, transforming wild grains into sustained sustenance, the meticulous planning of permanent settlements, rising as mud brick cities, the measured wisdom of laws etched into stone, the transcendent beauty of art, adorning temples and tombs. These are the cornerstones, the solid bedrock upon which our modern world was supposedly built. But what if, beneath this widely accepted foundation, there lay another, perhaps more intoxicating layer? What if the very fabric of these early societies was woven not just with practical advancements, but also with something far more mind-altering? You might expect that after the profound discovery of farming, the ability to feed multitudes, the next great leap would have been in mathematics, astronomy, or the sophisticated engineering that allowed pyramids to touch the sky. And yet, the subtle whispers from dusty scrolls and broken pottery fragments tell a different, much more surprising story. Imagine the slow dawning of this realization. You see the earliest farmers, their hands calloused from the earth, their bodies weary from labor. They are not merely cultivating grains for bread. They are fermenting them, watching with ancient wonder as humble barley transforms into something effervescent, potent. This was not a secondary invention, a trivial pastime. The evidence suggests, rather strongly, that the mastery of alcohol, the deliberate creation of a substance that could alter perception, relax the body, and perhaps even elevate the spirit, came before the intricate calculations, before the abstract thought that birthed true enlightenment. It's a humorous, almost darkly comedic thought. Isn't it humanity, at its very dawn, choosing the path of inebriation before it fully embraced intellectual illumination? Civilization, you might say, was fermented long before it was enlightened. And this wasn't an isolated incident. From these earliest moments, the use of narcotics, from simple alcoholic beverages to more complex plant-based substances, became intrinsically fused with every facet of life. You can almost feel it in the air, the pervasive scent of burning herbs mixing with incense in the temples, the faint tang of wine in communal feasts, the subtle bitterness of remedies steeped for the sick. It was not merely recreation. It was interwoven with profound religious rituals, serving as a conduit to the divine. It was a vital component of ancient medicine, believed to alleviate suffering and restore balance. And, of course, it was undeniably a part of daily life. A simple pleasure after a long day under the searing sun. A way to connect, to celebrate, or simply to forget. This wasn't a hidden vice, tucked away in the shadows. It was an open secret, a foundational element in the very blueprint of human society. You stand there, a silent observer, as these unexpected truths slowly, calmly reveal themselves, shifting your understanding of how the world truly began. Now, let your mind drift further, eastward across the vast, undulating expanse of the Eurasian steppe, approximately 5 millennia ago. Here, you encounter the Yamnaya, a people of formidable spirit and ceaseless movement. Picture them tall, robust, their faces weathered by sun and wind, their lives intrinsically linked to the powerful horses they rode. These were not sedentary farmers bound to the soil, but rather nomadic horsemen, their entire existence defined by motion, by the endless journey across boundless grasslands. You can almost hear the rhythmic thud of hooves on the dry earth, the creak of their wagons, the low murmur of their voices carried on the breeze. Their world was one of wide-open skies and distant horizons, a constant, slow flow from one grazing ground to the next. But the Yamnaya were more than just intrepid travelers. They were, quite unknowingly perhaps, the world's first major distributors of an intoxicating secret. As they migrated, covering immense distances from the steppes of Eastern Europe deep into Asia, they carried with them a plant that would subtly, yet profoundly, alter human experience: cannabis. Imagine the vastness of their reach. The slow, steady spread of this plant carried in their pouches, in the fodder for their animals, in the very fibers of their lives. Over centuries, like silent, botanical spores carried on the wind, cannabis journeyed with them, slowly taking root across an entire continent. The archaeological traces they left behind are like breadcrumbs through time, offering glimpses into their practices. You might stumble upon the remnants of their camps, tucked into sheltered hollows or beside ancient rivers. There, among the ashes and scattered tools, you would find the unmistakable evidence: fire pits, carefully constructed, still containing the charred seeds and burnt residues of cannabis. Picture a cool evening on the steppe, the low crackle of a fire, its smoke curling upwards into the vast, star-studded sky. Around this fire, Yamnaya warriors, shamans, and families would gather, perhaps inhaling the fragrant smoke, experiencing the gentle shift in perception that the plant offered. It was, in a sense, their communal ritual, their quiet moment of communion under the vastness of the heavens. They were, in a way, the original cultivators and connoisseurs, unwittingly laying the groundwork for a global phenomenon. Yet, as you delve deeper, a more unsettling truth emerges about these ancient nomads. The Yamnaya were not merely passive travelers or genial purveyors of plants. Their expansion was often forceful, their encounters with existing populations marked by conflict. Consider their arrival in Britain, an island already inhabited by the descendants of those who had meticulously arranged the massive stones of Stonehenge. You can almost hear the clash of cultures, the inevitable friction between a settled, agrarian society and a nomadic, horse-riding people. The archaeological record, though often silent on the direct sounds of battle, tells a stark story. The arrival of the Yamnaya coincided with the displacement, and in many cases, the outright eradication of the indigenous populations. It's a sobering thought, isn't it, that these same individuals, the world's first OG dope dealers, spreading a plant that brought relaxation and altered states, were also capable of such brutal acts of conquest. They were not just traffickers of a plant. They were, in a very real and often violent sense, the architects of profound demographic change, leaving behind a legacy both botanical and bloody. The winds of the steppe carried their secrets, both intoxicating and grim, across a slowly changing world. As you gently pivot from the expansive steppes to the meticulous work of modern archaeology, you might encounter a peculiar resistance, a quiet skepticism from certain corners of academia. Imagine the dusty archives, the hushed lecture halls, where conservative scholars, perhaps preferring a tidy, ordered narrative of the past, often put forth a rather pragmatic explanation for the widespread discovery of cannabis. Oh, that hemp, they might declare with a dismissive wave of the hand. It was solely for rope, strong fibers, perfect for binding, for weaving, for utilitarian purposes. And for a time, this explanation might have satisfied a desire for a serious past, a history devoid of anything so frivolous as altering one's state of mind. But as you look closer, as you sift through the layers of excavated earth, through the fragments of ancient lives, the evidence begins to scream otherwise. It whispers of a more complex truth, a history far more vibrant and, frankly, far higher than many academics were comfortable admitting. You can almost hear the sarcastic chuckle echo through the ages. Who, indeed, bakes brownies with rope? The very idea seems absurd in its simplicity, a clear attempt to sidestep a more uncomfortable, yet undeniably human, reality. Picture the diligent archaeologists, their hands caked with ancient soil, unearthing delicate pottery shards. They meticulously clean them, examine them under specialized lights, and send them to laboratories for analysis. And what do these analyses reveal? Traces of cannabis, not merely fibers, but the telltale chemical signatures of the plant's psychoactive compounds. You might visualize ancient hearths, where the ashes still hold microscopic remnants of cannabis seeds, clearly indicating that the plant was being burned, consumed, inhaled. There are vessels, intricately decorated, found with residues that speak of something more than mere storage. It's as if history itself is winking at us, subtly revealing its intoxicating secrets. The academic preference for a serious past, one where our ancestors were sober, industrious, and purely rational beings, feels almost quaint in the face of such overwhelming evidence. It's a desire for a clean, uncomplicated narrative, perhaps reflecting our own modern anxieties about such substances. But the past, as it turns out, was far more boisterous, far more adventurous in its pursuits of altered states. Our ancestors, far from being perpetually clear-headed, were often embracing euphoria, seeking solace, or pursuing spiritual enlightenment through means we've often chosen to overlook. The profound twist, then, is this civilization wasn't built by strictly sober minds. It wasn't forged in a perpetual state of clarity and absolute reason. No, the very foundations of human society, the ingenuity that sparked innovation, the creativity that birthed art, the communal bonds that formed cities, were often experienced, interpreted, and perhaps even fueled by altered perceptions. Civilization, you come to understand, wasn't just sober and industrious. It was, quite often, stoned. It's a quiet revolution in your understanding. A calm reevaluation of what it truly meant to be human in those distant, foundational epochs, where the boundaries between medicine, ritual, and simple pleasure were beautifully, harmoniously blurred. Let's now turn our gaze to a realm where cannabis found a more formalized, yet equally profound, purpose. The ancient apothecary. Imagine yourself stepping into an ancient healing house, perhaps in a bustling Mesopotamian city, or along the quiet, sun-drenched banks of the Nile. The air is thick with the scent of dried herbs, earthy spices, and the faint, sweet perfume of incense. You envision a tablet of clay, carefully inscribed with cuneiform script, resting on a wooden stand. These Assyrian clay tablets, some of the oldest medical texts we possess, are like windows into an ancient pharmacy, and within their meticulous lists, detailing hundreds of remedies, you discover something familiar: cannabis. It is not an obscure ingredient, but one of more than 400 distinct drugs recognized and utilized by the physicians of that era. Now, shift your focus to the papyri of Egypt, those delicate, unfurling scrolls that hold the secrets of their sophisticated medical knowledge. The Ramesseum papyrus and the Ebers papyrus, two of the most significant, speak volumes. As you slowly trace the hieroglyphs, your eyes might fall upon specific instructions, ancient prescriptions detailing the use of cannabis in Egyptian treatments. It was not a fringe remedy, but an integrated component of their therapeutic arsenal, carefully applied to a surprising array of ailments. Consider, for instance, a common affliction in lands where the sun beats down relentlessly and dust is perpetually in the air: glaucoma, an agonizing pressure within the eyes. Imagine a skilled Egyptian healer, their hands moving with practiced grace. You see them carefully grinding cannabis with celery, perhaps adding a touch of water or ancient oil to create a soothing eye wash. Envision the patient, their eyes clouded with pain, feeling the gentle application of these ancient weed eye drops, a sensation of relief washing over them as the herbal mixture begins its work. It's a powerful image, isn't it? The understanding that thousands of years ago, before modern pharmaceuticals, before synthetic compounds, our ancestors were already harnessing the potent properties of plants for specific, targeted medical interventions. And the applications extended beyond ocular discomfort. Imagine the quiet concerns within the women's quarters, the discomforts and ailments unique to female physiology. Here, the papyri reveal another fascinating prescription: cannabis combined with honey. Picture this mixture, sweet and earthy, prepared as a gynecological remedy. You might envision a woman, perhaps a noble woman within a grand estate, or a simple villager by the Nile, receiving this ancient balm, trusting in the wisdom of her healers and the power of the plant. The implications are striking, almost humorous in their modern resonance. Imagine the pharaohs themselves, those god-kings whose power was absolute, not merely commanding armies or building monumental temples, but also, in a very practical sense, prescribing weed. It paints a vivid picture of a society where cannabis was accepted, understood, and integrated into the very fabric of healthcare. The shocking irony, then, is this: that a plant so often demonized in our own recent history, a plant often relegated solely to the realm of pleasure, was, in the ancient world, held in equally high regard for its profound medicinal properties. It was both a soothing balm and a source of gentle euphoria, a testament to its versatile nature and the holistic understanding of those who lived beneath the desert sun. You feel a sense of calm understanding, recognizing that some truths about nature's remedies transcend the vast stretches of time. From the quiet chambers of ancient medicine, let us now ascend into the grand, enigmatic world of the pharaohs and the gods they worshipped. Imagine yourself in the cool, silent depths of a royal tomb, perhaps the magnificent resting place of Ramesses II, a pharaoh whose very name conjures images of power and splendor. As archaeologists carefully peel back the layers of millennia, amidst the gold, the precious jewels, and the carefully preserved provisions for the afterlife, they make a discovery that might surprise you. Here, in the sanctified resting place of a god-king, are traces of cannabis. It's not just a passing curiosity, it's a profound statement, weaving this plant directly into the highest echelons of ancient Egyptian society. You stand there, a silent witness, realizing that, even in death, the pharaoh's connection to this herb remained. But the significance of cannabis extended far beyond royal interment. It was deeply entwined with the intricate tapestry of Egyptian religious beliefs, linked to powerful deities. Picture Seshat, the elegant goddess of wisdom, knowledge, and writing, often depicted with a star above her head. She was the divine scribe, guardian of libraries and mistress of measurements. The association of cannabis with Seshat suggests it was seen not merely as a recreational substance, but as something that could open the mind, enhance clarity, or facilitate profound understanding, a key to unlocking knowledge. Then, consider Bastet, the fierce and protective war goddess, often portrayed as a graceful lioness or a domestic cat. Her connection to cannabis hints at its use in contexts requiring courage, strength, or perhaps even a trance-like state before battle or during protective rituals. It suggests a duality, a plant for contemplation and for empowerment. Imagine the grand festivals, the vibrant processions along the Nile, the air thick with incense, music, and the excited murmur of crowds. In these sacred gatherings, cannabis found its place. You can almost see it, offered in burnt form, its fragrant smoke curling upwards, carrying prayers and intentions to the heavens. It was used in intricate rituals, designed to honor the gods, to ensure the fertility of the land, or to mark significant celestial events. Beyond these public celebrations, cannabis was also a component in more secretive practices, woven into the fabric of witchcraft and magical spells. You might envision a quiet hut, far from the city's din, where a practitioner carefully grinds the herb, murmuring incantations, believing its essence could influence events or reveal hidden truths. The beauty of this ancient perspective is its seamless integration. Cannabis was not neatly compartmentalized into separate categories, as we often do today. The line between medicine, ritual, and recreation was wonderfully, harmoniously blurred. A substance used for healing could also be a tool for divine communion, and simultaneously, a source of communal joy. It's a powerful lesson in holism, isn't it? The same plant that eased an eye ailment could also be part of a ceremony to honor a goddess, and later, ignite laughter and merriment during a celebration. The dark humor of it all, a gentle whisper from the past, makes you smile. Pharaohs didn't just meticulously bury their gold, their treasured possessions, and their provisions for the afterlife. No, they also, quite literally, buried their stash. It's a testament to the plant's perceived value and enduring presence in their lives. From the mundane to the majestic, from the earthly to the divine, You feel a quiet warmth, a calm wonder at the depth of understanding and integration that our ancestors held for this ancient, versatile herb. As our tranquil journey through ancient consciousness continues, let us now shift our focus from the earthy scent of cannabis to another potent botanical marvel, one that held an even more profound sway over the ancient world, the poppy. Imagine yourself standing in a sun-drenched field in Sumer, nearly 6,000 years ago, where delicate poppies sway gently in the breeze. Their petals, in shades of vibrant red or ethereal white, are a beautiful sight. But it is the swelling seed pod, once the petals have fallen, that holds the true, mesmerizing secret. The Sumerians, and later the Assyrians, those pioneering inhabitants of Mesopotamia, understood this secret implicitly. They gave the poppy a name that speaks volumes about its power. Hulgil. It's a poetic and deeply insightful designation, for it translates simply to the happy plant. You can almost hear the soft cadence of those words, spoken by ancient lips, conveying both wonder and appreciation for the plant's remarkable properties. It wasn't just a plant, it was a source of profound solace and altered joy. Picture an ancient scribe, perhaps 4,000 to 3,000 BCE, seated at a low table, meticulously incising cuneiform script onto a wet clay tablet. These tablets, now unearthed and deciphered, are like living archives, describing the careful process of collecting opium sap. You can almost see the practiced hand of a poppy harvester, moving through the fields at dawn, making shallow incisions into the green, unripe seed pods. As the morning sun warms the air, a milky white latex oozes out, slowly drying into a sticky, brown resin. This precious substance, carefully scraped off and collected, was the raw opium. It was a laborious process, requiring patience and skill, a ritual in itself that yielded a treasure beyond gold for its profound effects. The archaeological record further solidifies opium's pervasive presence. Imagine the quiet dignity of Egyptian tombs, those carefully sealed chambers designed to safeguard the eternal journey of the deceased. Within these sacred spaces, amidst grave goods and personal effects, archaeologists have discovered jars, their surfaces still holding the subtle residues of opium. It's a testament to its value, suggesting that this potent substance was considered important enough to accompany the dead into the afterlife, perhaps to ease their transition or to bring them eternal happiness. Like cannabis, opium was not narrowly defined. It was revered as a panacea, a universal remedy that transcended categories. It was a powerful medicine, believed to alleviate all manner of pain and suffering, from headaches to more serious ailments. It was intrinsically woven into rituals, perhaps used by priests or shamans to induce trance states, to commune with the divine, or to facilitate prophetic visions. And, undeniably, it was a source of recreation, a way to experience euphoria, to escape the mundane, or simply to find a moment of peace. The dark humor in all of this, a gentle echo from antiquity, is that the happy plant sounds remarkably like the world's first advertising slogan for a drug. Imagine the ancient equivalent of a catchy jingle, extolling the virtues of this miraculous poppy. It became, in essence, the national cure-all of the ancient world, a substance that held a revered place in the daily lives, spiritual practices, and medical remedies of countless individuals. You feel a calm sense of wonder, recognizing the deep human need for solace in altered states, a need that has found expression in the most remarkable ways across the vast canvas of time. Our calm journey now takes us from the quiet fields of Sumerian poppies to the grand, imperial ambition of ancient Egypt, a land that transformed the happy plant into a global commodity. By the height of its power, Egypt was not merely a consumer of opium. It had become, in a very real sense, the world's first major opium cartel, orchestrating a vast network of cultivation, production, and international trade. You can almost feel the dry desert air, thick with the scent of poppy fields, stretching across the fertile delta and along the Nile. Visualize the fertile crescent of Thebes, a city synonymous with pharaonic power, and imagine the massive cultivation efforts. Here, the specific variety known as opium thabiacum flourished under the watchful eyes of Egyptian farmers. But Egypt's reach extended even further, into the sun-drenched lands of ancient Libya, where another potent strain, Cyrenaichum, was grown in abundance. By 1300 BCE, the pharaohs, with their unparalleled organizational might, weren't just dabbling in poppies, they were cultivating them on an industrial scale, understanding the immense value and demand for this powerful substance. Imagine the bustling harbors of the ancient Mediterranean, the rhythmic creak of wooden ships, the shouts of sailors and merchants. The Egyptians didn't keep their precious opium confined to their borders. They harnessed the formidable maritime expertise of the Phoenicians, those legendary traders whose ships crisscrossed the sea, and the Minoans, whose vibrant civilization on Crete served as a vital cultural and commercial bridge. These intermediaries carried Egyptian opium far and wide. You can envision bales of the precious resin being loaded onto sleek vessels, destined for the sophisticated markets of Greece, the burgeoning cities of Carthage, and the distant shores of Europe. It was a trade route built on the potent allure of the happy plant. As centuries passed, the demand only grew. And by 1100 BCE, a new hub emerged to facilitate this expansive trade. Picture the sun-baked island of Cyprus, strategically located in the eastern Mediterranean. It transformed into a professional opium processing and distribution center. Here, the raw resin would be refined. Perhaps packaged into distinctive containers, archaeologists have found intricate vessels designed specifically for opium storage and then re-exported to eager buyers across the ancient world. You can almost see the meticulous operations, the bustling workshops, the skilled hands preparing the precious commodity for its onward journey. The dark humor here, a quiet observation from your immersed perspective, is that ancient Egypt, with its vast agricultural lands and sophisticated trade networks, was essentially a global cartel. But instead of the modern image of drug lords and covert operations, you have pharaohs and royal decrees, meticulously managing the production and distribution of their most intoxicating commodity. Think of it not with the frenetic energy of a modern-day drug operation, but with the slow, deliberate pace of an empire, its influence reaching across seas and deserts. It's like imagining ancient Colombia, not with cocaine as its primary export, but with the profound, tranquilizing power of opium. This vast, intricate network reveals a world far more interconnected and driven by the desire for altered states than we often give it credit for. You calmly observe the scale of this ancient enterprise, a testament to opium's enduring and pervasive power. Our immersive journey through the ancient world's relationship with opium now leads us to consider its remarkable shift in accessibility and application, moving from the sacred to the surprisingly mundane. Imagine the flickering lamplight in an ancient temple, where myths are whispered and truths are passed down through generations. The Egyptians, ever eager to connect phenomena to their pantheon, believed that the god Thoth, the ibis-headed deity of wisdom and magic, was the divine inventor of opium. And in a charming twist of divine domesticity, it was said that Isis, the great mother goddess, even administered opium to Ra, the mighty sun god, to soothe his headaches. Such tales elevate the poppy to a realm of sacred potency, initially suggesting its use was reserved for the most exalted. Indeed, in its early days, opium was largely the purview of the privileged and the powerful. Picture it the serene, contemplative priests using it to enhance their spiritual visions, to connect with the divine during elaborate rituals. Imagine the wise magicians, wielding its power for their arcane spells and divinations, believing it unlocked hidden realms of knowledge. And then there were the valiant warriors, perhaps taking a dose before battle to quell fear, to numb pain, or to enter a state of heightened, almost trance-like, focus. For these elites, opium was a tool, a sacred key, a means to transcend ordinary human limitations. Yet, like many powerful substances, its use eventually filtered down, permeating every layer of society. You can almost hear the soft, insistent cries of an infant in a humble mud brick home, its mother weary from a long day's toil under the relentless sun. With a calm, practiced hand, she might reach for a small vial, carefully administering a tiny drop of opium, the happy plant, to her wailing baby. Imagine the quiet relief that would follow, the infant's cries subsiding, its small body relaxing into a peaceful, drug-induced slumber. This wasn't an act of neglect. It was, in the context of the time, an act of compassionate mothering, a readily available solution to soothe distressed children. The shocking reality, a truth that might make you pause in quiet contemplation, is that this practice was not confined to the distant past. It endured for thousands of years, an unbroken thread stretching through the centuries, well into the sophisticated parlors of the Victorian era. Picture a well-dressed English nanny in the 19th century, rocking a fussy baby, a bottle of Mrs. Winslow's soothing syrup, which famously contained morphine, an opium derivative close at hand. The echo of the ancient Sumerian mother giving her baby happy plant is unmistakable. The dark humor of it, a gentle, almost melancholic thought, resonates through time. Baby formula 3000 BC, now with 100% pure opium. It's a stark reminder of the vastly different perspectives on what constitutes safe and acceptable child-rearing practices across different epochs. The modern comparison, though thankfully free of opiates, might invite a soft chuckle. It's not so different. Perhaps right? From parents today, giving their children iPads to keep them quiet during a long journey, a different kind of pacification for a different kind of age. You find yourself calmly reflecting on the enduring human desire to quiet distress, a desire that is manifested in such fascinating and sometimes unsettling ways throughout history. As our tranquil journey through the intoxicating past unfolds, let us immerse ourselves in the vibrant hues and fragrant allure of another ancient marvel, the blue lotus. Picture yourself drifting along the calm, sun-dappled waters of the Nile, where these sacred blue lilies, also known as Nymphaea caerulea, bloomed in profusion, their exquisite petals, a deep, ethereal blue, opened with the morning sun and gracefully closed at dusk, embodying a cycle of rebirth and mystery. You can almost smell their delicate, intoxicating perfume, mingling with the earthy scent of the river. But the blue lotus was far more than a beautiful flower. It held a profound secret, one that the ancient Egyptians eagerly unlocked. Imagine the meticulous hands of a preparer, carefully steeping the fresh or dried blue lotus flowers in jars of wine. This wasn't just a casual addition. It was a deliberate alchemical process. The alcohol in the wine would extract the psychoactive alkaloids from the lotus, creating a potent elixir designed to uplift the spirit and alter perception. You can almost taste the rich, earthy wine, infused with the subtle, floral notes of the lotus, as it was poured into delicate cups. This infused wine was consumed during a myriad of occasions, deeply woven into the fabric of Egyptian life. Picture the grand, elaborate rituals, conducted under the watchful eyes of priests and priestesses, where the blue lotus wine would be shared to facilitate spiritual communion. Imagine the joyous festivals, vibrant with music and dance, where the elixir flowed freely, enhancing the communal experience. And then, consider the more intimate settings, the private celebrations, perhaps even those with a distinctly sexual undertone, where the blue lotus was believed to act as a powerful aphrodisiac, enhancing pleasure and connection. The effects of this ancient beverage were well documented and highly sought after. You might envision a calm wave washing over you, a gentle euphoria, a profound sense of relaxation that eased the tensions of the day. The blue lotus was also known to boost blood flow, contributing to a feeling of warmth and vitality throughout the body. Its aphrodisiac qualities were highly prized, believed to enhance desire and intensify physical intimacy. It offered a unique blend of mental and physical stimulation, a gentle awakening of the senses. Beyond its physical effects, the blue lotus held deep symbolic meaning. As you delve into the ancient texts, you find it mentioned in the revered Book of the Dead, a collection of spells and prayers guiding the deceased through the underworld. Here, the lotus is depicted as a symbol of creation, rebirth, and the sun itself, emerging from the primordial waters each day. Its intoxicating properties were therefore not seen as mere recreation, but as a path to spiritual enlightenment, a way to mimic the divine cycles of renewal. The dark humor, a gentle chuckle from the heart of antiquity, might suggest that these ancient Egyptian religious festivals were, in essence, the world's first rave parties. Picture the vibrant colors, the rhythmic drumming, the dancing figures, their minds gently elevated by the blue lotus wine, connecting on a deeper, more ecstatic level. It was, in a sense, their own unique blend of ecstasy and Viagra, a single botanical marvel capable of inducing both profound euphoria and heightened physical sensation. You feel a calm appreciation for the ingenuity of our ancestors, who understood how to harness the subtle powers of nature to enrich their lives, from the sacred to the sensual. As our slow, immersive journey through the intoxicating currents of ancient history draws to a gentle close, you find yourself standing at a unique vantage point, looking back across the millennia. The calm understanding that has settled within you is profound ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia. The very cradles of human civilization were not societies rigidly bound by sobriety. No, they were cultures that embraced a remarkable trio of mind-altering substances: cannabis, opium, and the blue lotus. It was a potent combination, woven intricately into the tapestry of their existence. Imagine the sheer pervasiveness of these substances. They were not fringe elements or underground vices, They were integral to the daily rhythm and grand narratives of these powerful civilizations. You can picture cannabis, its earthy scent mingling with the air, used as a healing balm, a tool for spiritual insight, or a simple way to relax after a day of labor. Then, visualize the happy plant, opium. Its milky sap collected with reverence, serving as a powerful panacea for pain, a sacred aid in rituals, or a quiet means to soothe a crying child. And finally, see the ethereal blue lotus, its petals steeped in wine, bringing euphoria, connection, and a touch of the divine to festivals and intimate gatherings alike. This wasn't a world of abstention. Pharaohs, those living gods who commanded empires, had their preferred substances. Priests, entrusted with the sacred rituals and the communion with deities, surely partook. Warriors, facing the brutal realities of ancient combat, might have sought their solace or courage in these plant allies. And the common peasants, toiling in the fields, building the pyramids, or simply living their humble lives, also found their drug of choice, whether for medicine, celebration, or simple escapism. Everyone, in some form or another, had their particular key to altered perception. The shocking truth, which now feels less like a jolt and more like a calm realization. Is this the perceived greatness of these civilizations? Their monumental achievements in art, architecture, law, and philosophy may have been not merely accompanied by, but perhaps even fueled by, a pervasive culture of being high. It prompts a quiet contemplation. Did these altered states unlock new pathways of creativity? Did they foster communal bonds? Did they provide the mental fortitude to endure hardship? Or the spiritual elevation to envision grander futures? The questions hang in the air, soft as a desert breeze. Now, gently bring your awareness back to the present moment. Think of our own modern world. We often pride ourselves on our advancements, our scientific understanding, our sophisticated systems. But in many ways, we are still a junkie society, simply with different substances. We've swapped the earthy balm of opium for the stimulating jolt of coffee, an essential ritual to kickstart our days. We've traded ancient cannabis for the nervous relief of nicotine, and we often rely on a dizzying array of prescriptions, meticulously formulated in laboratories, to manage our pains, our anxieties, our sleep, and our moods. The final, gentle thought that lingers, like the faint echo of ancient music on the wind, is this perhaps the human quest for altered states, for shifting our perception of reality, is a fundamental, unchanging aspect of our very being. Perhaps, beneath the veneer of progress and technological marvel, we are still fundamentally connected to those ancient Sumerians and Egyptians, forever seeking to change how we feel, how we think, and how we experience the world. One substance at a time, the sand may have covered their footprints, but the quiet rhythm of their experiences lives on, a soft whisper in the collective human story. As the faintest whisper of dawn begins to touch the eastern horizon, you stand at the threshold of a new day in ancient Memphis, a city stirring gently from its slumber. The first blush of a deep, fiery red sunrise spills like warm wine across the serene surface of the Great Nile, its light reflecting with dazzling brilliance upon the immense, meticulously carved stones of distant temple constructions. You can almost feel the dry desert air, still cool from the night, carrying the faint, earthy scent of river water and sun-baked mud bricks. The world around you is slowly awakening, not with a jolt, but with a gradual, almost deliberate unfolding. In a quiet corner of this sprawling city, perhaps not far from where you stand, a figure prepares for her day. This is Pesachet, a woman of extraordinary standing, one of the incredibly rare female physicians in all of ancient Egypt. Her modest dwelling, a home of sun-dried brick and cool, shadowed interiors, offers a tranquil space as she gathers her tools. On a small, smoothed wooden table, bathed in the soft, first light that filters through a high window, her medical treasures are meticulously arranged. You see jars of viscous, golden honey, smelling faintly sweet and of wildflowers, renowned for its antiseptic properties. Beside it, neat bundles of dried garlic, their papery skins crinkling softly, known for their potent protective qualities. There's the delicate, earthy scent of cumin and the slightly bitter aroma of acacia leaves, each carefully prepared. A small alabaster flask holds precious cedar oil, its deep, woody scent believed to hold both healing and purifying powers. These are not merely ingredients, they are the very essence of ancient medicine, a blend of observation, tradition, and profound reverence for nature's gifts. In the distance, a low hum begins to rise, the indistinct voices of workers already making their way to the colossal building sites, their daily toil commencing even before the sun clears the horizon. Soon, the rhythmic thud of ceremonial drums will carry on the morning breeze, a steady pulse marking the passage of time and the beginning of official activities. It is a subtle soundtrack to a day that promises to be filled with both the ordinary and the extraordinary. Pesachet is more than just a maswan, a physician, a healer of bodies. She is also a guardian of knowledge, a keeper of the secrets held within the hallowed halls of the Per Ankh, the House of Life. Here, in this sacred institution, ancient wisdom is preserved, studied, and expanded upon. You can sense her quiet determination, her deep connection to the rich tapestry of life and learning that defines her world. And so, a new day, born amidst the rising heat of the desert and the soft, whispered prayers of the people, begins its inexorable march forward. The gentle morning calm, though vibrant, is abruptly shattered. A sharp, piercing cry, agonizing and raw, rips through the air from the direction of the nearby construction site. It's a sound that makes the hairs on the back of your neck tingle, pulling you instantly from your contemplative state. You picture the chaotic scene, immense stone blocks being hoisted, dust thick in the air, the rhythmic grunts of the laborers, and then the sickening reality: a worker has fallen, his arm twisted and horribly broken beneath a tumbling stone. The sudden silence that follows the scream is almost more deafening than the cry itself. A collective gasp from the men witnessing the accident. Pesachet, her movements swift and purposeful, without a moment's hesitation, is already running towards the sound. You observe her focus, her innate composure. Her sharp, experienced eyes quickly scan the scene, assessing the damage. You can almost feel the tension in the air as she kneels beside the injured man. His arm is a mangled, agonizing sight, the bone shattered and protruding beneath the skin. A stark visual of the brutal force that has struck him down. His face is contorted in pain, sweat beading on his brow despite the relatively early hour. There are no gleaming steel scalpels here, no sophisticated instruments of modern surgery. There is no potent anesthetic to dull the searing pain. Only the sheer, raw reality of the injury and the limited, yet profoundly effective tools of her ancient craft. In her hands, You see simple yet essential items, clean strips of linen bandages, carefully prepared splints of smooth, strong wood, and her own deeply experienced, skilled hands. These hands, you realize, are her most vital instruments, imbued with years of practiced knowledge and an almost innate understanding of the human form. With an unwavering gaze, her face a mask of calm determination, she begins her work. You watch, transfixed, as she gently but firmly grasps the broken limb, carefully manipulating the bone fragments, coaxing them back into alignment. The worker groans, but a hushed command from Pesachet, a soft yet firm instruction, helps him endure the agony. She applies the wooden splints with precision, binding them tightly with the linen strips, securing the fractured arm with an expertise born of countless similar emergencies. The crowd of workers, initially paralyzed by the shock of the accident, stands in a silent, reverent circle around her. You can feel their collective admiration, their quiet awe, as they witness the broken arm being expertly splinted and carefully bound. A seemingly chaotic injury transformed into a neat, stable package. In this moment, amidst the dust and the raw reality of the construction site, you witness the incredible power of ancient science intertwined with a profound, almost spiritual faith. It is the power to alleviate suffering, to mend the broken, right there in the heart of the relentless, demanding pace of their daily lives. A quiet sigh of relief seems to ripple through the gathered men as the immediate crisis is averted, the healing process begun. As Pesachet quietly gathers her supplies from the previous incident, the city's sounds, once again, begin to swell around you. The rhythmic chipping of stone from the construction site, the distant cries of street vendors, and the general murmur of life in Memphis create a vibrant, continuous backdrop. Your path, perhaps following Pesachet, leads you through the bustling market district, a kaleidoscope of sights, sounds, and smells. The pungent aroma of exotic spices mingles with the dusty scent of sun-dried dates and the faint, sweet perfume of incense. The air is alive with the chatter of merchants, the bleating of goats, and the distant melody of a lone musician. Suddenly, the clamor of the market is pierced by a new, more desperate sound, a woman's frantic shriek. Your attention is immediately drawn to her as she rushes forward, her face etched with terror, clutching a small child to her chest. The boy, you notice with a jolt, is limp and appears to be turning a disturbing shade of bluish purple. "Scorpion!" Her cry tears through the vibrant noise of the Memphis bazaar, a single word laden with primal fear and urgency. The word hangs in the air, a chilling reminder of the ever-present dangers in this desert land. Pesachet, her senses always attuned to distress, reacts instantly. She turns to face the distraught mother, her gaze calm and steady. As she approaches, she takes a moment, a barely perceptible pause. You see her eyes gently close for a brief instant, a gesture that seems to draw her inward, connecting her to something deeper. Then, a low, melodic whisper begins to issue from her lips, an incantation, a series of ancient, sacred words. She is invoking Serket, the revered scorpion goddess, patroness of venomous creatures and protector against their sting. It is a moment where the veil between the physical and the spiritual seems to thin, a powerful testament to the integrated nature of their beliefs. As she opens her eyes, something shifts in her demeanor. You can feel a change in the atmosphere around her. It's as if she embodies the very essence of the goddess she has invoked. Her voice, when it speaks, is no longer merely pesachet's. It resonates with an authoritative, almost otherworldly tone, a soft but firm command that cuts through the mother's sobs and the rising murmur of the curious crowd. It is a voice of ancient power, a protective injunction against the venom. With practiced ease, she draws a small, sharp bronze knife, not a surgical tool in the modern sense, but a ritual blade, a quick, precise incision, barely a scratch, is made near the sting site. You watch, holding your breath, as a tiny bead of dark, viscous liquid, the very venom, is gently released. In that singular moment, you witness the seamless fusion of ancient medicine and profound magic, transforming a desperate situation into a ritual of survival. The boy, his small body suddenly relaxing, takes a deep, gasping breath. The bluish tint on his skin begins to recede, replaced by a more natural flush. His mother, her heart overflowing with relief and gratitude, collapses to her knees, offering a silent, fervent prayer. Pesachet, with her usual quiet efficiency, simply collects her tools, her gaze already fixed on the path ahead, knowing that the long day and its myriad challenges is far from over. The immediate crisis of the scorpion sting now receding into the hum of the market. The mother, still trembling slightly from her terrifying ordeal, approaches Pesachet with a more private, hopeful question. Her eyes, still glistening with recent tears, now hold a flicker of gentle anticipation. "Tell me, esteemed healer," she whispers, her voice soft and deferential, "am I with child? Do I carry a new life within me?" It's a question as old as humanity itself, a blend of profound hope and quiet anxiety. Pesachet, a faint, reassuring smile gracing her lips, responds with an understanding nod. This is a common query, steeped in ancient wisdom and practical observation. She leads the woman to a quieter spot, perhaps a shaded corner of a nearby courtyard, where they can speak without the clamor of the marketplace. Here, she unveils an age-old method, a simple yet revered test for pregnancy. Before you, she carefully takes 2 small, shallow pots, perhaps made of sun-baked clay, into one. She sows a handful of barley seeds, their small, elongated forms nestled gently into the earth. Into the other, she places delicate wheat grains, softer and rounder. Then, with a quiet solemnity, she instructs the woman to provide her own urine, which Pesachet then carefully pours over the seeds, watering them with this most personal fluid. The wisdom of the ancients dictates a period of patient waiting. You can almost feel the anticipation, the quiet hope suspended in the air. If the seeds germinate, if life indeed sprouts from the earth, then life has already begun its wondrous journey within the woman's womb. It's a beautiful, symbolic connection between the earth's fertility and the fertility of the human body. But the test offers even more profound insights. If the barley seeds are the first to sprout, unfurling their tender green shoots towards the sun, then the child growing within will be a boy, a son to carry on the family name. If, however, it is the wheat that first awakens, then a girl, a daughter, is destined to grace their lives. It is a simple, yet profoundly significant ritual, intertwining the natural world with human destiny. Beyond this botanical divination, Pesachet gently reminds the mother of the deeper spiritual connection, guiding her to offer heartfelt prayers and petitions to Hathor, the benevolent goddess of motherhood, fertility, and childbirth. It is through Hathor's grace and divine influence that the journey of pregnancy and the miracle of birth are ultimately blessed and completed. For the people of ancient Egypt, life and death were not opposing forces, but intimately intertwined aspects of a continuous cycle, like the endless flow of the Nile. And the physician, like Pesichet, stood as a fragile yet vital bridge between these two profound worlds, guiding souls into existence and easing their passage from it. You can sense her quiet reverence for this delicate balance, her role as a custodian of life's most precious beginnings. The day continues its slow, sun-drenched progression, and as the afternoon begins to gently mature, your journey with Pesichet leads you towards a place of immense power and profound reverence. Finally, towering before you, the imposing yet sacred gates of the Per Ankh, the House of Life, come into view. This is no ordinary building. It is the very heart of intellectual and religious life in ancient Egypt. A sprawling complex where knowledge is nurtured and divine wisdom is contemplated. The air here feels different, almost charged with the quiet intensity of scholarship and spiritual devotion. Stepping through the grand entrance, you are immediately enveloped by an atmosphere both sacred and, for a moment, almost overwhelming. Inside, the space is alive with a quiet, industrious energy. You see a multitude of individuals robed priests with serious countenances, earnest young scribes meticulously copying texts, and fellow physicians, much like Pesichet, engaged in study and discussion. They move through the vast halls, their soft sandals barely disturbing the dust on the stone floors. Everywhere you look, long, unfurled scrolls of papyrus lie scattered across sturdy wooden tables, or are carefully rolled and stacked in niches along the walls, appearing like an endless, ancient sea of written wisdom. The air carries the faint, sweet scent of old papyrus, mingled with the earthy aroma of ink and perhaps the subtle fragrance of cedar from the wooden chests. As Pesichet navigates the bustling corridors, her path inevitably crosses with that of Isesi, a high-ranking priest known for his formidable arrogance and his powerful title as a royal guardian. He is a man accustomed to deference, embodying the patriarchal structures of their society. You observe his reaction, a cold, almost imperceptible nod of acknowledgement towards Pesichet, his gaze lingering with a barely veiled air of dismissal. This subtle gesture, you understand, is a stark reflection of the rigid and often harsh gender discrimination that pervaded their world, where a woman's authority, even one as skilled as Pesichet, was frequently undermined or overlooked by men of his standing. But Pesichet, with her characteristic composure, remains unperturbed. Her focus is unwavering. You can feel her inner strength, her quiet conviction that such superficial distinctions are ultimately meaningless. For her, the true power lies not in titles or gender, but in the acquisition and application of knowledge. She understands that true influence stems from insight, from the ability to heal, and from the deep understanding of the mysteries of the human body and the natural world. The atmosphere within these hallowed walls, you realize, is a fascinating paradox, simultaneously spiritual and profound, yet at times also stifling and restrictive, particularly for those who dare to challenge established norms. It is a place where every carefully inscribed hieroglyph, every learned text, holds the potential to determine the fate of individuals, to shape the destiny of a civilization, and to transmit wisdom across the vast expanse of time. Moving deeper into the heart of the Per Ankh, the whispers of scholarship and the gentle rustle of papyrus become even more pronounced. Your gaze settles upon a quiet corner where, bathed in the soft, diffused light filtering from a high window, Peseshet's son, Akhethetep, is diligently at work. He sits with intense concentration, his young brow furrowed, his fingers deftly guiding a reed pen across a sheet of papyrus. He is meticulously copying ancient hieroglyphic characters, each stroke a testament to patience and precision. You can hear the faint, rhythmic scratch of his pen, a soothing sound that speaks of dedication and the slow, deliberate pace of learning. You realize, as you watch this scene unfold, that the practice of medicine in ancient Egypt was often a hereditary profession, a legacy passed down through the generations like a precious heirloom. In Peseshet's family, this tradition flows like the Nile itself from her respected grandfather, whose wisdom undoubtedly shaped her own path, to Peseshet herself, and now to her son. Akhethetep is not merely copying texts. He is inheriting centuries of knowledge, becoming a living link in a venerable chain. For many young girls in this society, the path to such a prestigious and learned profession was largely closed, a door firmly shut unless they possessed the extraordinary backing of a powerful and unconventional family. Peseshet, in her own pioneering existence, is not simply healing the sick. She is, through her very being and her tireless work, subtly but powerfully opening new pathways, forging opportunities for other women to step into the realm of knowledge and healing. She is a silent advocate, her life a living example of what is possible. Yet, despite her undeniable skill and the high regard in which she is held by many, the societal structures remain rigidly defined. You are aware that male physicians, often entrenched in their own established networks, are frequently supervised separately, sometimes refusing to acknowledge or even listen to the advice of female practitioners, regardless of their expertise. This stark reality underscores the challenges Peseshet faces daily, a continuous undercurrent of bias in an otherwise demanding and revered profession. The society around her, you acknowledge, is indeed harsh and resistant to change, steeped in traditions that favor men. However, the deep-rooted legacy of her family, their established reputation, and their unwavering support provide a solid foundation, allowing Peseshet to stand firm, a beacon of knowledge and healing in a world often slow to recognize a woman's profound capabilities. You sense her quiet resolve, a strength that emanates not from defiance, but from an unshakable belief in her own purpose and the power of knowledge itself. The soft, ambient hum of the Per Ankh shifts subtly as you follow Peseshet into a spacious, yet unadorned classroom. The air here is still, carrying the faint scent of clay and perhaps dried herbs. A group of students, a mix of eager young men and a few women, perhaps drawn by Peseshet's reputation or from families open to her tutelage, are gathered around her. Their faces are alight with anticipation, their eyes fixed on her with an almost reverent attention, ready to absorb the wisdom she imparts. They are here to learn about Metu, the intricate and mysterious channels that the ancient Egyptians believed coursed through the human body. Peseshet begins her lesson, her voice calm and measured, yet imbued with a quiet authority. She speaks of these Metu, not just as pathways for blood, for the vital breath that sustains life, or for the waste of urine. Her teaching delves deeper, explaining that these channels also served as conduits for the very spirit, for emotions, and even, sometimes, for malevolent influences or bad souls that could bring illness or distress. You watch, captivated, as her hands rise and move gracefully in the air, tracing invisible lines and curves. Her fingers become brushes, illustrating the intricate, unseen network of these internal flows, mapping out the pathways within the human form with an eloquent precision that transcends the lack of detailed anatomical diagrams. The students, utterly absorbed, lean forward, their reed pens scratching diligently across their papyrus scrolls. They are not merely taking notes. They are meticulously recording what they believe to be the profound secrets of life itself. The hidden mechanics that ensure the body's harmonious function. To them, this knowledge is not just scientific. It is sacred, a key to understanding the very essence of existence. You can sense their deep fascination, their unwavering belief in these invisible currents that govern health and well-being. In this quiet classroom, you witness the beautiful, complex intertwining of ancient medical understanding with deeply held spiritual and mystical beliefs. It is a system that is both empirical and metaphysical, a holistic approach to the body and soul. A full hour seems to melt away, absorbed by the richness of the lesson. Yet you know that the impact of Peseshet's teachings will resonate far beyond these walls. Her profound insights into the human body, blended with the spiritual worldview of her time, will echo through the generations, shaping the medical practices and philosophical underpinnings of Egyptian healing for centuries to come. A testament to the enduring power of her quiet, scholarly whispers. As the gentle light of the afternoon begins to soften, casting long shadows across the Per Ankh, a somber quiet descends upon Peseshet and, by extension, upon you. Just as she prepares to conclude her duties, a figure emerges from the lingering shadows, a woman whose frailty is immediately apparent. Her eyes, sunken and shadowed, hold a profound, aching despair that speaks volumes even before a single word is uttered. She approaches Peseshet with a desperate, almost silent plea, her gaze fixed on the healer as if she holds the last vestige of hope. Under her arm, concealed by the folds of her simple linen garment, is a mass that she reveals with a trembling hand. You see it a hard, unyielding lump, cold and unmoving like a stone beneath the skin. The sight of it sends a chill through you, a palpable sense of dread. Peseshet reaches out, her skilled fingers gently touching the hardened mass. You can almost feel the texture through her touch, the unyielding nature of it. In that moment, a pang of deep sorrow pierces her heart, a silent, internal lament. She knows, with a certainty that only years of experience and a profound understanding of human suffering can bestow, that this particular illness, this cold, unyielding growth, lies beyond the reach of her vast healing capabilities. It is a truth that hits with the weight of granite. She has consulted the ancient texts, those revered scrolls filled with generations of accumulated medical wisdom, meticulously copied and preserved in the House of Life. And on this specific malady, the texts are unequivocally clear. Their pronouncements stark and heartbreaking, do nothing. There are no balms, no incantations, no surgical interventions that can stem its insidious advance. For Peseshet, a woman dedicated to life and healing, this is a profound moment of powerlessness. For the very first time, this skilled and compassionate physician, who has mended broken bones and vanquished venoms, must confront the brutal reality of her own limitations. She must accept the bitter truth of her inability to save a life, to alleviate this particular suffering. The boundary between life and death, usually a fluid concept in their spiritual world, suddenly becomes painfully, cruelly defined. It is a stark reminder of the ultimate fragility of human existence, a moment that leaves an indelible mark on the healer's spirit. The quiet resignation in the woman's eyes, mirrored by the quiet despair in Pesachet's heart, speaks of a truth that transcends time and culture. Not all battles can be won. And sometimes, the deepest act of care is the acceptance of what cannot be changed. The silence that follows is heavy, laden with unspoken sorrow, a profound testament to the limits of even the greatest ancient wisdom. As the sun dips lower towards the western desert, casting long when purple shadows across the city, Pesachet finally steps out of the Père Ankh. The weighty silence of the House of Life seems to cling to her, and you feel the palpable heaviness in her heart. The image of the frail woman with the unyielding tumor, the despair in her eyes, lingers in Pesachet's mind, haunting her thoughts like a phantom pain. It is the unspoken burden of a healer, the faces of those who could not be saved, who slip beyond the reach of even the most skilled hands and ancient wisdom. You sense the profound melancholy that settles upon her, a quiet sorrow for the lives she witnesses falter, for the suffering she cannot alleviate. Yet, the relentless rhythm of life in Memphis, the ceaseless demands of a civilization constantly striving and enduring, allows her no time for prolonged introspection or for dwelling in the depths of despair. Even as the sun prepares to vanish, she knows with a weary certainty that with the new dawn, new cries for help will undoubtedly emerge. There will be other injuries, other sudden illnesses, other desperate pleas that will demand her immediate attention, pulling her back into the ceaseless current of healing. In Memphis, you realize, a physician like Pesachet carries a unique and profound double burden. She is, at once, a cherished benefactress, a bringer of relief and renewed life, revered for her ability to snatch individuals back from the brink of death. But she is also a quiet, constant witness to an endless tapestry of human suffering, a silent observer to the inevitable march of ailments and the ultimate fragility of life. Every joyous smile, every grateful embrace from a patient she has successfully guided back to health is, you reflect, accompanied by the lingering shadow of those she could not save. It is the unspoken cost of her noble profession in a world still brimming with vast, untamed mysteries. The quiet, reflective walk through the twilight streets of Memphis becomes a meditation on this profound truth. You perceive her as a figure of immense strength, yet also of deep, quiet vulnerability. She understands that this is the inherent price of her calling, the unyielding responsibility of being a healer in an ancient world where so much remained inexplicable, where the power of the gods and the harshness of fate often held sway over the most meticulous of medical practices. Her burden is heavy, but her resolve, you sense, remains unbroken, a testament to her profound commitment to alleviating human suffering. One day, one life at a time. The day, with its myriad challenges and quiet triumphs, now gently draws to a close. The western sky over Memphis is ablaze with the final, breathtaking hues of sunset, painting the ancient city in a magnificent palette of deep oranges, fiery reds, and soft purples. The majestic Nile, the timeless artery of this civilization, glistens and shimmers, reflecting the twilight's splendor like a river of liquid gold. You feel the air growing cooler, a welcome respite from the desert's daytime heat. and the sounds of the city gradually soften, easing into the hushed murmurs of evening. Pesachet, her long day finally concluded, seeks a moment of quiet solitude. You find her sitting on a weathered stone step near the riverbank, her gaze fixed upon the flowing waters. The rhythmic, gentle lapping of the Nile against the shore is a soothing balm, a constant presence that has witnessed countless sunrises and sunsets. She watches the current, understanding its profound rhythms. Her mind, though tired, is already looking ahead, for she knows that soon the annual inundation will begin. The great flood, a miraculous gift, will bring with it the life-giving silt that nourishes the fertile lands, ensuring the prosperity of Egypt. But Pesachet, with her physician's insight, also understands that the rising waters will usher in new challenges, bringing the potential for new diseases, fresh outbreaks that will test her skills and resilience anew. A deep sigh escapes her lips, a quiet acknowledgement of the endless cycle of life and labor that defines her existence. Despite the weariness that must undoubtedly weigh upon her bones, she slowly, deliberately, rises to her feet. You sense her profound inner strength, her unwavering commitment to her purpose. She is ready, not with a burst of energy, but with a quiet, enduring resolve for the inevitable demands of the coming days, for the ongoing ebb and flow of health and illness. To be a physician in ancient Egypt, she knows deeply, is far more than simply mending bones or curing fevers. It is a relentless, lifelong struggle against the very currents of fate, a constant dance between the fragility of human life and the vast, unyielding forces of nature and destiny. And as the last vestiges of daylight fade, and the first bright stars begin to prick the deep velvet canvas of the Egyptian night, you understand that Pesachet's extraordinary journey, this quiet, heroic battle waged between the realms of life and death, will continue. It is a story that echoes across the millennia, a testament to the enduring spirit of healing. Tomorrow, the sun will rise again over Memphis, and with it, the timeless work of Pesachet, the rare female healer, will resume, a quiet beacon of hope and knowledge in a world still full of ancient mysteries. May your own night be filled with the same tranquility and gentle reflection as the closing moments of her remarkable day.